Thank you.
I just wanted to show you the slides that we have, just to kind of do a recap. So, right, so we've been just walking through the first chapter, problem statement. Second chapter, it's summary, talking about different yoga forms. And 3, karma, teaching us about karma, like physically how to do it. But to do that, you need knowledge. That comes in the 4th chapter, transcendental knowledge. And then the 5th one, it goes more internal. And, yes, you cannot be inactive externally, but internally you can be by detachment. And then 6th chapter, Krishna now teaches mind control because, okay, yes, how do you do that inner detachment? How does that come from? So dhyana yoga is one of the aspects that Krishna is teaching us. And then where did we go? Okay, yeah, so we had verse 1 to 9. Krishna defines who a yogi is, first 4 verses. Then he talks about the mind in 5 to 7, and then he gives the symptoms of the perfected yogi. Let's see, what else did I have? Okay, we talked about Ashtanga yoga, the 8 steps. We talked about how the first 4 are beginning, Arurukshor, and the second half is Arudhasya. Okay. Then we talked about, yes, the mind, the 5 stages of the mind, how you can look at people and you can find them in these different stages, like a donkey, completely deluded, um, ignorant, purely ignorant. It can be like a monkey, agitated, be like a butterfly, always just flying here and there, distracted, concentrated, and controlled. We talked about that. And then we talked about some ways how to make your mind your friend. And we had these acronyms that I put here. Most of them are coming from Prabhupada's books, right? So for example, deliberate spiritual intelligence is in the 3rd chapter, towards the end of the chapter, I think 342 or 343. And so Prabhupada talks of all these. So we can control our mind by, lovingly neglecting them. You can procrastinate when it comes to desire. You can tell your mind, just like Haridas Thakur, hey, we'll do it, but wait for some time. You can use your intelligence, be deliberate about it, that, hey, no, this is something I need to think about. Do I need to do it? How valuable it is, and so forth. All your material activities, you do them methodically and dispassionately. Methodically means you have to do what needs to be done. You can't go to work and just say, I'm from Vaikuntha, I don't need to work. No, you have to work. We have to pay our mortgages, take care of family, and so forth. So we have to do our obligatory duties. And then we also make some voluntary life changes. This is what we talked about. Talked about aim of the Shastric study. We talked about always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, an important aspect that we discussed in detail last time. Okay, this comes in. Okay, yes, we talked about all this also, right? Different aspects, our sadhana, mental health, and how we have to take care of all of them, knowledge, family, and relations. Okay, so yes, I just wanted to go through my slides to be sure that we have everything covered. Okay. Okay, so that was it. What did we do in the last 10 to 19 verses? Anybody remembers anything? What was the essence? Just give me an essence. You don't have to go through details. What was talked about by Krishna?
About never forgetting Krishna.
Yeah, okay.
Focusing the mind.
Focusing the mind, okay. What else? Krishna gave some practical tips, how to sit, how to talk, not say talk, how to
sit, how to be quiet,
yeah,
how to
yeah.
take care of your mind, how to focus,
Yes.
external focus and internal focus.
Yeah, so Krishna is giving all that from a Ashtanga Yoga perspective. We can always use these for Bhakti perspective also. Always sit in a clean place. Your sitting place should not be like within 5 minutes your legs start to hurt or something. Try to find a place where you're comfortable, where you can do your rounds in one go. Once somebody asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, how do I do better book distribution. And Prabhupada thought for a minute and said, do all your 16 rounds in one sitting, don't move. So that requires a lot of effort to not move for 16 rounds. That's close to a couple of hours. So yes, so different things that we could use from this chapter. And the important principle that, yes, as we talked about, was always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. That was something to keep in mind. And so that was some,
Krishna Prabhuji, I had a quick question. You had
yes.
just mentioned that do all your rounds in one sitting. I mean, I walk around, in the house, I just make circles. So is that okay? Like Prabhuji, we do that like every day. Is that okay? Or do we need to like sit down in?
Do whatever helps you control your mind better.
Okay.
So for example, I also walk, but I prefer to sit down and do it, especially sitting away from my gadgets. I keep my phone far away, my laptop is far away, my phone is on silent. Because if I am walking and suddenly if I see my phone light up, I'll be attracted to go there and see what's happening. And also when I'm taking a walk in the house, I might see things like, oh, why is this left here? Let me put it back. So there's these minor things. So I prefer to sit down and do all of them. But then obviously, yes, I cannot do all of them. I try to do around 8 or 10 or 12, something like that. I'm able to do it, then I get up or something. So whatever helps you control your mind, that's the best way.
Okay. Yeah,
Prabhupada,
we do
Prabhupada
turn
would
off.
walk around also.
I saw a couple of videos where Prabhupada was, walking. We do turn off all our gadgets. We put everything away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it helps you control your mind, keep your mind focused, walking does not distract you too much, that's fine. That's good. Then you can walk.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Prabhuji. Haribol.
Haribol. At the end of the day, it's all this is external. Externals are important, but the essence lies in the internal. Yeah. Yes, our area should be clean. Very good. But if my mind is not clean, what am I going to do with the clean area? It's not much. Not. So just keep that balance in mind. Okay, so we'll start 20 to 23 today. Let's see, what is this? Okay, so here Samadhi is being described. Let's see, what is Prabhupada? It's a long purport, I know. Somebody can, I'll request you all to read also. Somebody can please read the translation and so that we can take it from there.
I can read.
Yes, please, go ahead.
In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising
From material contact.
from material
Yes.
contact.
Thank you. So the word that Krishna is using here is chittam. Chittam here, right? Yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya. So the word chitta, Prabhupada translates as mental activities. Niruddham, restraining them. So the word the word chitta is, if you look at it from a more layman perspective, chitta is consciousness, right? So mind, intelligence, and ego. That's our chitta. That's the consciousness. And our chitta is at this moment rooted in material energy. So the goal of yoga is chitta vritti nirodha, stopping of consciousness from vrittis, from impressions, the attraction towards matter. That's the step of it. But to keep in mind, the Dhyana yoga practice is silencing and stopping all material activities and emotions. Whereas bhakti, so once again, I've given this example many times, coming from negative to zero, yes, Jnana Yoga can help us, silencing ourselves, controlling our mind, and so forth. However, Bhakti Yoga is going to kindle that spiritual emotion. So that's going to take us from that zero to the positive. So whenever you think of yoga, Dhyana Yoga, you can use it from this perspective. Right? So Prabhupada would always say, don't arouse your senses unnecessarily. Right? And for example, in this, it says, where was that? No greater gain, such one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. At the time of Prabhupada, a lot of devotees, you all might have already, you might know it already, the whole temples would run on big distribution. Practically, that was the case. Devotees would leave, they'll wake up in the morning, do their chanting, all the Mangalarti and Darshanarti, and they'll have their breakfast, and they all will go out to distribute books. And they'll come back late in the evening. And sometimes they might or might not have something to eat, right? So because the temple would cook prasadam and then it would get over. So sometimes they would just eat puffed rice and go to sleep. Right? So it is difficult. It was very austere what Prabhupada's disciples did. It was extremely intense. So that's what Krishna is teaching here, is in a state of samadhi, the person, even in the midst of greatest difficulty, is never shaken. So Prabhupada's disciples saw a lot of difficulties. Anywhere from being, police, just harassed by the police, the local people, putting them in jail. Sometimes some deprogrammers would kidnap them and try to deprogram them. Recently, I saw a video where Hridayananda Goswami Maharaj, Hridayananda Maharaj was having a debate. This was somewhere in 1970s. Was having a debate with this guy called Tom Patrick, I think was his name. He was an Afro-American guy, and he was a deprogrammer. And so, yeah, deprogramming was very common. So there was a lot of great difficulties, but they never gave up bhakti. If you go to New Vrindavan, you will see that's something that is the fruit of labor, of extreme difficulty. The Prabhupada disciples actually just did all that by themselves. They would, in the winters, they would just go to the lake and break a piece of ice and melt it and then take a bath and whatnot. So it was extreme difficulty, but they were never shaken. They would continue doing that. Right? And so that's called samadhi. That's a state of samadhi. That's where samadhi is. Unfortunately, in today's world, the fundamental problem is that there are unlimited desires of people with very limited resources. The statistics are that United States is 5% of the world's population, but United States consumes 30% of the world's resources, and it produces 30% of the world's waste. Right? Just imagine if the whole world started consuming the way United States did, we humans would need like 4 or 5 planets, right? So the only solution to all this economical ecological mess is to understand control our senses. That's what the whole process is. Right? And if you go to India, when people go to India, they see, oh my God, so much poverty, it's not clean, people are not educated, people are illiterate, and so forth. But still, even people are not literate, they're not educated. Every morning, they rush to see the deities at 4:30 in the morning. If you go to Vrindavan, you might die in the stampede or something if you go to Vrindavan. Because people are so eager to see the Lord. Yeah, they might, yes, okay, fine. We don't keep our surroundings clean. Fine, I agree with that. But we try our best to keep our hearts clean, which is more important. So yeah, so that's the challenge. And that's what this chapter is teaching us, that controlling your senses, controlling your mind will give you that happiness, that ever-increasing happiness that you're looking for, right? And that is the actual freedom from all miseries that are arising from material contact. It's all coming from material contact. That's what it is. Our desire becomes so much, our desire is so aggravated that we just can't look the other way. We all have these two forces. There is centrifugal and centripetal force. If you know those things, words, they are more of a, yeah. I've learned them from the scientific perspective, but so the centrifugal force is that allures us outwards. It's fugal, right? It's throwing us outwards, and centripetal force is drawing us towards the Lord. Right? When you come to the material world, and especially these countries like the Western, they have their benefits. I'm not against Western countries, but the centrifugal force alluring us into this material world is so much more here. It's just unbelievable. There is no limit to enjoy here. But what Bhagavad Gita is teaching us, the complete opposite. Trying to focus on that centripetal force, taking us to the core, our core of our heart, which is Krishna. In the 10th canto, 14th chapter, Sukadeva Goswami tells us that Krishna is Atmanam Akhilatmanam. Krishnam enam avehitam Atmanam Akhilatmanam. Jagadhitaya Sropyatra Dehavavati Maya. That he's Atmanam Akhilatmanam. He's the soul of my soul. So he's the soul, my soul. So yeah, so that's something to keep in mind. So this whole phrase here is telling us the outcome of samadhi, what happens, and if you remember the stages, where was those stages? So samadhi is the last stage. Okay. After you've done all that yam, niyam, asana, pranayama, everything. So samadhi is the last state. And samadhi is what is being described here. So it goes into a lot of detail here in samadhi. Okay. Then let's see what Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada has. After nirvana or material cessation, there is manifestation of spiritual activities or devotional service to the Lord known as Krishna consciousness. Nirvana, here what Prabhupada is explaining where the word nirvana is, you have come out of the mode of ignorance and passion completely. Mode of goodness. Prabhupada says this in the Nectar of Instruction, in the preface or introduction, one of those places. He says that when you come to the mode of goodness, then your future path automatically gets clear for you. Right? And that's bhakti. So that we are able to connect with our super soul, and the super soul is able to direct us. We are no more being hankered or by just pulled around by the illusion and the ignorance and passion. So that's what Prabhupada is telling us here. That when you have come from the negative to the zero, then your spiritual activity, your devotional service comes into being. Right? So even before we become a devotee, we have to become a human being. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, let's see what else Prabhupada is saying. The best practice of yoga in this age is Krishna consciousness, which is not baffling. Krishna conscious person is so happy in his occupation that he does not aspire after any other happiness. There are many impediments, especially in this age of hypocrisy, to practice Hatha Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. But there is no such problem in executing Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. Can you all think of what impediments would there be in Hatha Yoga? First of all, tell me what Hatha Yoga is. What do you think? Anyone can tell me that, please?
Controlling the air in the body.
Hatha, right? What is Hatha? What does the word sound like you?
Hand.
Hatha is the sun and moon. So
Sun and moon? Sorry, I didn't get you.
sun and moon, yeah. So having the duality of the body and mind, they try to balance by controlling the energy in the physical body.
Well, Hatha Yoga is just a physical exercise. Physical yoga we do here. Common as that. That's Hatha Yoga. Yes. So yes, to some extent, you're right, Gandharva, that it's the controlling that energy. That's what they're trying to do. The chakras, they talk about all these fancy things, and they have made a mockery of yoga. It's goat yoga and hot yoga, whatever. But basically, Hatha yoga just does physical exercises. So what kind of impediments do you think would happen in Hatha yoga? Anybody can think of any?
If you're physically not able or getting old or sick, you can practice.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, which physically you might not be, it might not work for you. Right? After an age, your joints stop being that flexible. Yes, Sandeep
Also,
Prabhu. Sorry,
yeah,
somebody. Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
Also need discipline. If you don't have discipline, then you can't basically practice it properly. Because if you don't,
Yeah,
if you don't practice it properly, you may injure yourself or something.
yeah. That's a good one. Who else? Who else wants to tell me? Sandeep
You can
Prabhu,
go,
your hand's
Prabhuji.
up. Tell me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The biggest problem is what Krishna himself said, right, Prabhu, in the Gita, that that is very incredibly hard to achieve. You know, uh, so because mind is more powerful than anything else. That's why better to do bhakti yoga than focus on these other things because it's easier.
Yeah. You're right. Yes, Krishna said that. Krishna specifically in that what you're referring to talks about um, impersonalism. Klesho adhiktarastesham avyakta sakta chetasha. Avyakta means who's not manifest, whom you can't see. You're just thinking of it as an impersonal being, like a cloud up in the sky or a source of energy. So for that, Krishna specifically says it's klesho adhiktaras. That's 12th chapter, 5th verse. But you're right. The same problem is here also. Something that it's hard to comprehend and effect of. That's also you can add that here. Okay. So Dhyana yoga, what do you think an impediment in Dhyana yoga? Dhyana yoga is basically sitting down and meditating. What we are reading right now, that's dhyana, doing some dhyana, focusing our mind. What impediment would be there?
Prabhuji, maybe we are trying to get the material benefits out of it.
Yeah, okay. So material benefits, you mean like by doing these kind of yogas, we would think that I'll become attractive enough that I can fool people or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Prabhuji.
yeah. People can do that. Anybody else? Dhyana yoga?
Yeah, you could, Prabhuji, you could try to do a Dhyana yoga, but if you're not focused, then it's useless. So the best thing is Bhakti yoga, because at least Bhakti yoga you can attain Krishna through it.
Yeah. Good. And Gyan Yoga, somebody who has not spoken, can somebody tell me what Gyan Yoga problem is? What are the impediments of Gyan Yoga? Anybody wants to speak?
Prabhuji, it's like it's so much gyan is there, like it's inconceivable to attain everything what is provided.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes. People get so fooled. If you go to India, you go to Loi Bazaar, and there's that shop. What's the shop called? I forgot its name. It has every
Ras Vihari something, right, Prabhuji? Something
I don't remember
where we are getting the books, right, Prabhuji? That one.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
place where there are a lot of books there. Keshav, you remember the name of it? Loi Bazaar. What
Yeah,
was the
Loi
name?
Bazaar. We went there, Prabhuji, on the second floor. There are so many books. Even
Yeah.
the basement is so small, it's
There's a lot of
unimaginable
books,
to
yes.
carry.
Yeah. Keshav, you remember the name of that store? What are we talking about?
No.
Loi Bazaar.
I think better not to advertise.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so he has practically every book that you can think of in the Gaudiya Vaishnava system. And when initially Prabhupada's disciples went to India for the first time, they were just amazed. There is so much other literature. And they just started reading it, all that fancy things, coming from Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and all these different acharyas. And then they started buying those books. And Prabhupada said, no problem, you can read them, but at least first assimilate what I have given you. Those were Prabhupada's words. So Jnana Yoga, yes, that's the problem. There's no limit to it. Unlimited books. You can read however you want. Prabhupada would call Jnana Yoga in this world as armchair philosophy. Like, you just sit down on a nice armchair in front of the fireplace and you're just discussing it, but there's no outcome. Yeah, that's why Prabhupada is saying. And then the Prabhupada answers it also here. It's an age of hypocrisy. All these yoga forms, they're hypocritical. Gyan yogi, dhyan yogi, we talked about, they're trying to gain some benefit out of it. Hatha yogis, they just completely miss the whole point of yoga, doing those physical exercises. And Gyan yogi, again, they are just trying to read, and just try to show off with that knowledge. No use of it. But bhakti has there no impediments in bhakti. It's so easy. We're doing the exact same thing, but you just bring Krishna into the picture. Okay, that's good. Yes, Pratishu, you raise your hand.
Yeah, one more thing, Prabhuji, like too much gyan is like also create that negativity in our heart, right? So ultimately it bring us down.
Yes. Being too intelligent is actually not a good thing from a bhakti perspective. I've met people who are so full of themselves that they just feel that, okay, I don't need anything from anyone else. I figured it out. So that's a big problem, yeah. Whenever we go out for book distribution, so many Indians we meet, you show them a Bhagavad Gita, they say, oh, I know everything. I know this. I have read it. I'm following this. I'm following that. So yes, it's a big problem. Okay, let's see what else is there. Prabhupada is saying he is callous towards, so let's see. He accepts the bare necessities of life, making the best use of bad bargain, and enjoys transcendental happiness in Krishna consciousness. He is callous toward incidental occurrences such as accidents, disease, scarcity, and even the death of a most dear relative. But he is always alert to execute his duties in Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga. Accidents never deviate him from this duty. Oh, that's interesting. Can somebody tell me what does Prabhupada mean? The word callous means, the way I think of it, is hard-hearted. If somebody knows another meaning of it, please tell me. But then Prabhupada is saying you have to be. Sorry, somebody was saying.
Sorry, is it like a sthita pragya?
No, callous is not like sthita pragya.
Yeah. Okay.
Callous is
Udasin, Prabhuji?
Udasin. What's the meaning of the word?
I think somewhere we heard
Callous,
that term, right?
Can somebody just Google the meaning of the word callous? Just see what it says, the regular dictionary.
In Bengal, callous is very casually used for being careless.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Anybody else found the dictionary meaning of it? Callous.
Prabhuji, it refers to cruel, emotionally hardened disregard for others' feeling.
Okay.
Physically
Yeah, that's a good one.
thicken and hardened skin.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is saying callous towards incident occurrences, even the death of a most dear relative. How do you understand this? Somebody who's not spoken. Somebody tell me that. Why would Prabhupada say you have to be callous even to your death of a most dear relative? You have to be hard. What does Prabhupada mean here? Can somebody share some thoughts? Let's see who all are there. I will call them up.
Prabhu, can I share?
Yes, go ahead, please.
So basically, meaning let go, right? Because if you're still attached to someone that's gone, you cannot move forward. It may even hinder your bhakti because you're thinking of them, or you're going back and saying, if this happened, if that happened, if I had done this, if I had done that,
Yeah, that's a good one. Anybody else? Who's who all there?
Prabhuji, can I share?
Yes, I know. Go ahead.
Yeah, also I think it's because the devotee recognizes that like everything is happening by Krishna's desire, and that ultimately the soul of the person is like never dies. So ultimately the person is like not actually perishing, and so whatever Krishna did to them is ultimately in their benefit.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point, more from a spiritual intelligence perspective, from a soul level. I was just curious as to why would Prabhupada use such a strong word as callous? Why such a strong language? That's what I just wanted to ask you, if anybody else has. So, yes, Julian, you have your hand up.
I was thinking that it would be more in terms of that Krishna would think that the dear one has already gone to Krishna.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Okay. Gandharbika, you have your hand up.
I think it's the detachment with the knowledge of transcendental knowledge. You detach so that you don't get more entangled in this material bondage.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, so there are two levels of response, right? So there is a natural human response, right? Human level response, a body mind level response. We will cry, we may feel grief. Even great devotees have shown this, they cry when somebody passes away or something. That's not what's condemned here. That's not what Prabhupada is saying is callous. He's saying the devotee, the way devotee sees it, he sees, as all of you are saying, he sees is that it's a transition. It's not annihilation. The soul is eternal. Krishna has told us that in the second chapter earlier. So the devotee is internally thinking that, yes, this is painful for me, but this is not the ultimate reality. And the reason, the reason I understood why Prabhupada is using this such a strong language, because this verse specifically is about somebody who is perfect in yoga. So Krishna is describing somebody who's in samadhi. He's not talking about somebody who's an average practitioner. At that level, material events don't pull our consciousness away from Krishna. Even intense events like death of a dear one cannot break our spiritual focus. So that's the way I understood it. So yes, you all added it. I just want to add this one point, that because this verse is talking about specifically a perfect practitioner, so Prabhupada has to bring in he's bringing some strong language here. Right. And then Prabhupada further on, he himself says that after speaking that, he's saying that he endures all such incidental occurrences because he knows they come and go. So yes, that's something that I also took away from it. And it's very interesting when you read Prabhupada's purports. You want to read it. There's a word called Shravanam. As we know, Shravanam means hearing. Mananam is another word. Mananam means you meditate on it, and you say, see what is being told here, right? Not from an intellectual perspective, more from a spiritual perspective. Each word, each purport of Prabhupada has immense value. They're talking about a pure devotee writing it. So that's one way that we can try. For example, today morning I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, and at one place Prabhupada said, I'm just on the first chapter of Adi Leela, Prabhupada said, in due time, material scientists will also be able to contact with the Vaikuntha, like something of that sort, Prabhupada. And I was just confused. What do you mean, Prabhupada? And then I just sat down and I thought about it, and I just could make some, at least from my own understanding, I could deduce it and understand it that, okay, this is what Prabhupada means. So I'm just suggesting you all that whenever you read a purport, try to see why Prabhupada is saying such a thing. Right? This, as I said, this callous word just stood out for me when I read it. I was just like, oh my God, Prabhupada, what are you doing? You're bringing out such a strong word. Right? But then I also know in my heart, I have this full conviction that Prabhupada is never going to be wrong. He can never be wrong. Never, never, never. It's just completely, I don't even think that way, that Prabhupada can be. So when you read from that level of faith and conviction, then you can get deeper into those verses. Just a thought I wanted to share.
Oh, when I heard that word callous, I thought it has something to do with one of the previous shlokas we had discussed, where it said like udasin, the word udasin was used, right? Which meant like something like not exactly too much involved, And I thought it was same repercussions here also in this particular shloka, where the word udasin had something to do with the word callous here.
Can you find which verse was that, Udasin? Because I know there is in the 9th chapter there is a verse, Udasino Vadasino Saktadeshu Karmashu.
I think probably last class we had discussed that in the last class.
There was Udasin somewhere. I don't remember. Okay.
Yeah.
If you find it, then if you get a chance, we will look at it. Then tell me, and then we can discuss it further. I don't remember it on top of my mind where that was.
Sure.
Okay, so let's look at 24. Somebody can read the translation, please. 24.
One should engage oneself in practice of yoga with determination and faith, and not be diverted from the path. One should abandon.
deviated.
Sorry, Prabhuji, deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desire born of material speculation, and thus control all the senses of all side by the mind.
Yeah. So this verse talking about determination. Where else have we read about determination? There was a verse that we read that talks about determination. Utsaha nishchadhairya tattat karma pravartana. That was the third verse of Nectar Instruction. Determination. So again, if you connect all the Shastras, if you sit down and just, if you had that time, and you would find, okay, Prabhupada is talking, Krishna is talking about determination here. And then you will find, Rupa Goswami talked about determination. So you will find and come to the conclusion that no Shastra is against or contradictory. They all are the same. They all are giving the exact same meaning and message. So determination, yes. And then Prabhupada is saying the yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue this course with great perseverance, not becoming discouraged if there is any delay in the attainment of success. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Okay, so this is amazing. So success is sure for the rigid practitioner. And I remember, I think we talked about it in one of the classes. Prabhupada talks about this in the what was the Light of Bhagavad, right? I quoted that. There was a chapter number 43. I'm just pulling it up. I just wanted to read that. That's an amazing chapter. You just can read it again and again for your own fortification. So this is text 43, Light of Bhagavad. Okay, and Prabhupada is saying, devotional service of the Lord never goes in vain. Just at the right moment, the result of one's particular devotional service will come, even if one has no desire for it. Right? And then he says, where was that? There was another section that I liked. The devotee therefore should execute his devotional service with full energy, endurance, and confidence. He should perform his scheduled duties. He should be pure in heart, and he should serve in association with devotees. One should not be discouraged in the discharge of devotional service. Failures may not be detrimental. They may be pillars of success. So, and then he says, this is something. So this is what Prabhupada is referring to in this purport also. The same, some similar thought process, just to let us know that whatever we are doing, our success is 100% guaranteed. So we should never become discouraged. Things are going to go up and down, topsy-turvy. We'll Krishna mercy, we might lose a job, anything can happen. But then success is for sure guaranteed for all of us. Okay. Determination. Prabhupada gives the story of the sparrow. I won't go through it. You all must have heard the sparrow and the eggs. So Prabhupada gives the example of that sparrow for determination. Right. So determination. So determination. We all have determination. Someone might think that, I don't have determination for bhakti. No, we all have determination in us. Attaining a job, raising a family. So we do so many things with that determination. So we have determination, no problem. But the question is, why am I not able to give the same determination to spiritual life? And there are many reasons for it. First of all, initially when we begin, in the starting, Krishna consciousness doesn't look it looks very confusing in the beginning. It doesn't look very tangible, right? And we say, oh no, it's so much to do. Oh, this book, that book. Oh my God, chanting, dressing this way, tilak this way, and that and that. Initially, it looks like a bit mind-boggling. Then another reason is that this world has brainwashed us. To brainwashed us to tell us about our goal, right? No one has told us that our goal is to awaken pure love of God. From the day we are born, our goal is, okay, earn money, get a good job, earn money, have a good family, buy houses, cars, whatnot. But nobody told us that the final goal is to awaken pure love of God. That is why it's not deeply ingrained in our heart. And then our environment makes a lot of a difference. There are so many opinions coming from all around us, right? But and they are constantly driving us away from our goal. So, and we don't have that for spiritual life. That's why Prabhupada stresses a lot on association. We need people who speak the same language of spirituality as we are trying to imbibe and practice, right? So there are many reasons why we might not have determination, but we all have determination in our heart. And determination comes through deliberation. You keep going, right? When we deliberate, when we sincerely think about what is of value to me, what I would be remembered for at the end of my life. I was listening to a class recently, and there the speaker was saying that at one point they were told to meditate on their own death, and then they were asked to write their own eulogy. What would you want people to say about you when you're dead, when you're gone? What would be your legacy? And that would tell us that, okay, what do we want to be like? Right? So deliberation, thinking about it, right? And with that deliberation, by that sincere effort, what happens the next step is that the devotion becomes clear in our mind. Right? Krishna, obviously, he manifests himself, right? So those are some ways by which we can always make determination by deliberation and then devotion. Those are the two things that come in. And if you ever get any doubts, yes, we all get doubts, but not all doubts have to be clarified at the right moment, at that same moment. That's another challenge with determination. People lose determination because they get questions and they get so stuck on those questions and doubts that they just give up that determination. Right? So if you ever get doubt, you can easily categorize those doubts. You can, yes, for sure, discuss them with somebody and get them clarified. But if you're not getting an answer, you can just delay them. Just put them in a box and keep them aside to be addressed later. And you'll realize that after a year or two, they're completely gone. And some doubts, you can just downplay them. Downplay them means just ignore them. For example, if you see somebody behaving inappropriately and you start doubting the whole ISKCON concept and Prabhupada and the whole ISKCON thing, that, oh my God, what about these people? So no, don't do that. So yeah, so you can always clarify your doubts, but determination is key. That's what we're being told here. And Prabhupada is clearly telling us, if you just keep going with determination, Krishna will help us. 10th chapter, 10th verse. Tesham satata yuktana bhajate priti purvaka vedami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. That whoever approaches me with love and sincerity, I give them all the knowledge they need to come to me. 25. Gradually, 25? Yeah, 25. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Intelligence sustained by full conviction. This is another way of saying deliberate spiritual intelligence that we read in the end of 3rd chapter. The similar thought process, right? And now the word conviction is being used here. If you just look at it just in a more from meaning of the words, determination is internal, right? That I'm determined. Conviction is something you show it externally, by the practice. That's conviction, right? So keeping that in mind. So, and then the word intelligence means you have intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence. The word buddhi is used here. Buddheya dhriti. Dhriti, buddhi means intelligence. Dhriti, dhriti is conviction. Okay, that's the meaning of that. And then the important word here is sane. Slowly. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. But it is surely going to result real results. That's why we should never be impatient with ourselves. And we should never be angry if we are not making progress. That's also a way that Maya comes and messes up with us. You do everything sincerely, leave the results to Krishna. Even if we seem to be failing, our practices make us stronger. Many years ago, I read an analogy where somebody was saying that how people, when they climb the mountains, like Himalayas and Everest and so forth, the Everest, a point comes when it just becomes flat. It's not always going upwards. It just becomes flat. There's this flat space. You're just walking flat on that mountain. But that doesn't mean you have reached the bottom again. No. It just looks as flat, but no, you're still going up. So that's the way to keep that in mind. We don't make it as a business transaction with Bhagavan. He will give it when he wants to give us. But we just keep doing our best. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Right? Because we have so many past samskaras, they all get activated. Rajogun, right? Rajogun is our samskaras are getting activated. And then the mind goes in that direction. So we have to be like a mother. A mother always has one eye on the child. She might be doing all different things, but she always has an eye on the child. What is he doing? What is she doing? Right? So we have to be vigilant. And Thomas Jefferson said that eternal vigilance is a price you pay for freedom. All the freedom we are enjoying in any country, not just this country, all the freedom that people enjoy is because of the eternal vigilance on the border of the military or this different military personnel. Similarly, we have to be always vigilant about our mind. Where is it going? What is it doing? Even if you want to relax your mind a bit, that should be still under your control. And how long you have to do it? Till you leave this body. Practice will continue. We have to be convinced that mind cannot be peaceful by indulgence in anything. Right? It can only be peaceful by restraining ourselves. Right? So this is something. So the Prabhupada is highlighting the use of our senses for Rishikesh, who's the master of all the senses. The word Rishikesh, right? So the word Rishik is senses, Isha is control. So Rishikesh, Rishikesh. He's the master and the controller of all the senses. And but God's senses are not like our senses. Our senses are not independent. I see because my vision is enabled. I might still have these eyes, but if something goes wrong in the retina, the choroid, or whatever, but I won't be able to see them. Similarly, hearing, same thing. So my senses are not independent. Krishna also has senses, but not material ones. So Krishna is not formless. He's a person, but with spiritual senses. And his senses are interchangeably. That is why when we offer prasad, when we offer food to Krishna, we think, oh, Krishna has not eaten it. There are so many people who say that, oh, you guys, this all is nonsense. You put food in front of a doll and then you say, oh, he's eaten it. But no, Krishna can eat from any sense. Why does he have to just eat it physically? He can just see. He can see with his ears. He can hear with his eyes and so forth. That's what Prabhupada has explained. So he's present everywhere and he can perceive everything. And when we'll come to Ishupnishad talks, even though they're just 18 verses in Ishupnishad, but it talks a lot about this, right? Tanejati tannaejati tadure tadvantrike tada antarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasya bhayata. That he's far, he's near, right? So there are many such verses in Ishupnishad. Will come. So yes, so the Prabhupada is talking about Rishikesh. This is 27. So all these that we are reading, you can see clearly they are the qualities of a person who is in samadhi. These are the qualities of a person in samadhi. So just we're seeing that pattern here. That how Krishna is explaining that. 27. Yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. Is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme. And thus he is freed from all reactions to the past deeds. So this is about this 27. Let's see what 28 is. Let's quickly go through that. I think these two both are talking about the Brahman realization. Right? So I don't have to go through that. You all already know that concept of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Brahma Bhutam, Akalmasham. So Brahman. So this is about talking about the Brahman platform. And Prabhupada is explaining the Brahma Bhuta is a state of being freed from material contamination and situated in transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman. So he has to go to the concept of Bhagavan. So that's what he's talking. So Prashanta Manasam, that's what is being here. Prashanta Manasam means mind is completely pacified. How? It's completely pacified. And by how? By having an ultimate goal to pursue. What is the ultimate goal we are pursuing? Krishna consciousness. So mind, what is that? Mind is disturbed in need of a goal. Prabhupada talks this in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He says, because mind doesn't have a goal, it needs clarity. It needs the compelling vision of a goal. Once that happens, then the mind becomes peaceful. Okay. So clearer the goal is in our mind, and to that degree we will experience peacefulness. And then comes Yogina Sukham Uttamam. So that's high grade pleasure. Sukham Uttamam. It's not low. The word Uttam, the word Tama, we all know Tama is ignorance. So Ut means beyond. So it's beyond Tama. Right? And then there's this word called Akal Masham, which is freed from all past sinful reactions. So, right? So all contamination is gone. So Akal Masham. Akal Masham is like taking a bath after a hot day in the open. Right? Very clean, thoroughly cleaning, relaxing. Right? So that's what Mahaprabhu teaches us in the Shikshashtakam. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadava Nirvapanam, Shreya Kera Chandrika, Vitrana Vidya Vadu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Pratipadam Purna Amritashvadanam, Sarvatma Sanapanam, Param Vijate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So the Sarvatma Sanapanam is bathing of the self, the bathing of the soul. That's what Mahaprabhu also talks about. It gives a cooling effect. Okay. I'll take a pause here, see if anybody has any thoughts, anything that you would want to bring out. I'll just keep going otherwise. I won't take a pause. All clear for everyone? Okay.
Here, Krishna is further elaborating on what we have learned in chapter 2, right? The Sthit Pragya person and his qualities. There's something similar we are reading here as well.
You can say that, yes. Sthita Pragya is Sthita. He's Pragya. Sthita means stable, right? So he's stable. And that's what Krishna is explaining here also. But here the focus is on through Dhyana Yoga. Let's just keep in mind that. Yes, but yet it's similar principle. Okay. Thus the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Okay. This transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Samsparsha. What's that? Brahma Samsparsha. Prabhupada is bringing this word up. Brahma Samsparsha. And in the 5th chapter, if you all remember, in the 22nd verse, we read, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukha yonaya evate adiyantavanta konteya nateshu ramate buddha. There was samparshaja bhoga. Means we are, samparshaja means we are, here the word samparshaja means constant touch. So we are touch with, bhoga means material world. But here, the touch is with Brahma, the Supreme. It's a completely opposite thing that is being discussed here. Right? Samparshaja bhoga, and then here is Brahma samsparshana. So it's the word is same, right? But it's the meanings are completely opposite. Right? And it's very much like when you when you fall in love, right? It's so engrossing. There is a verse in Padma Puran, Yuvatinam yatha yuni, Yuvatinam yatha yuni, yunam cha yuvato tata. I forgot the last word. Yunam cha yuvatinam yatha yuni. I forgot the last part. But what do you say? Just like a young boy falls in love with a young girl, and it's vice versa, and they're completely lost. They're just 24/7 thinking about that other person, right? That's the kind of uh, that's the kind of perfection that we have, right? That's the highest stage of perfect happiness. Something similar. So yuvati nam yatha yuni, yunam cha yatha mano bhiravate tasmai. And I forgot the last line again. But yeah, so what the author is saying that, oh Krishna, may my heart be attached to you in that same way. That's samsparsha. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. This is a very famous verse. Sarva bhutasthamaatmanam sarva bhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshana. So he sees every Krishna everywhere. So what happens when you get spiritual realization? So now this 29 to 32 will talk about Paramatma platform. So Brahman platform we talked about, Paramatma. So in everybody, Krishna, you'll see Bhagavan. So that's Paramatma realization, right? Experience of having seen Paramatma. So direct experience of Paramatma in all jivas is being described here. When we say namaste, right? You all know the word namaste is basically that we are paying our respects to the divinity within us. We are divine because of a connection with the divine. Otherwise, there's no divinity in this material body. So, and how do you practice this concept of Paramatma realization? Let's see what Prabhupada is saying. Hidesha, I was looking for something. Okay, it's not that. I thought there was something Prabhupada that said in this verse. Yeah, so we can always come to that level of understanding by practicing humility and amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari. That when we practice humility, that practice leads to Paramatma realization because you're basically cleaning your heart up. And when we see other living entities that are insignificant, like recently was it Keshav? I think Keshav was telling me that how if in the school a bug or an insect would come into the class, all the kids would just jump and try to kill that insect. How demoniac that is. Why do you want to kill it? Just because that living entity is insignificant. And that will harden your heart, and people just don't realize it. Right? The dogs, ants. So if we interfere with other living entities' life cycle, we'll always get karma. We'll always suffer karma. So this is about Paramatma realization. Okay, so let's see. The yogi sees equally because he sees that all living entities, although in different situations, according to the results of fruitive work in all circumstances, remain the servants of God. While in the material energy, the living entity serves the material senses, and while in spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either case, the living entity is a servant of God. The vision of equality is perfect in a person in Krishna consciousness. So, yes, a pure devotee sees Paramatma in everyone's heart. That's an Uttam Adhikari. You've read about Uttam Adhikari, right? So,
Prabhu, is Paramatma realization same as that Brahman realization, or is different?
can somebody answer that question? If you
It's
remember what
different.
I mentioned about Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, we talked about it in detail in one class. Somebody can share their thoughts with Prabhu?
Brahman is seeing the light.
Okay. And what is Paramatma? I'm trying to see if I can find that in.
Paramatma is actually realizing it's like the sun. First, Brahman is seeing the sunlight, and Paramatma is like understanding that there is an actual circular globe behind that,
Okay.
behind that light, sunlight.
That's good. And what would Bhagwan be in that analogy? Of the sun.
Actual
He's-
dark.
The entire sun universe.
That's Bhagwan?
No, that's yes. Is
Okay.
it?
Prabhu, isn't Paramatma and Bhagwan quantitatively same?
So Prabhuji, that Brahman is all pervading, like the whole universe, right? So we see his energy is present everywhere, and when we realize that, so everything in everything, there is a the hand is there, the Krishna hand is there. That's called Brahman realization. Paramatma is who is sitting in everyone's hearts, all living being heart. So when we see everyone equally with equal vision, that's Paramatma realization. And Bhagwan is when we understand this, that Bhagwan itself has his own identity, his own individual form. So that's Bhagwan realization.
Okay. Thank you. I'll just bring this out again. And I have mentioned to you, all of you, this is a very important concept. Otherwise, you'll just be always confused when you read Bhagavad Gita. This has to be very clear to all of you. Brahman is the all-pervasive energy, right? You just go out of the door and you see, oh my God, flowers are out. Who told them that it's springtime? Did they have a calendar at home? No, they didn't have that. There is some intelligence that's guiding all this. The sun comes out at the right time, the moon, the winter, the summer, and everything. So that's the Brahman concept. Paramatma concept, when people start seeing that, they develop a sense of gratitude that towards this whole creation, and then they want somebody to put that gratitude on. And the first thing they always focus on in the heart, because they're getting all that information from the heart, from within. So they feel that, oh no, it looks like that person is sitting within me. That is why they sit down and try to look for Paramatma. That's the super soul concept. And then eventually the Bhagwan is Bhagwan himself, Krishna, the two-armed form of Krishna, the Sam Sundar. That's the Bhagwan form. And then the analogy as we're talking about sunlight there is sunlight, there is the sun globe, and there is the sun god. So similarly, the sunlight is the Brahman, the sun globe is the Paramatma, and the Bhagwan is the sun god in there. That's the concept. Okay.
Prabhu, like in this case, because it seems like he's having like a Brahman realization here, right? I mean, you're talking about the Brahman realization here, right? Not Paramatma. Because the Samadhist state, isn't that like a Brahman realization? Not yet Paramatma?
So that's what I was mentioning, right? So till 27 and 28 were Brahman realization. 29, because Krishna is seeing, he observes me in all beings. That's no more Brahman realization. Now you're being something specific, right? That you are seeing something in every living entity. It cannot be Brahman. Brahman is all pervasive, something like the sunlight. So when you become more focused and you're seeing it in some person, that, oh yeah, looks like the divinity is within this person, then that comes to a Paramatma level.
Oh, okay. So the previous two shlokas were
Yes.
Brahman, but this subsequent ones are Paramatma.
So 29 to I think 31 or 32, we'll see when we go there. That's Paramatma realization.
Okay.
And then Krishna will also talk about Bhagwan. So he talks about all three of them in this chapter.
Okay.
So again, similar verse. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So again, so the same similar to what just the earlier one was, right? That who sees me everywhere. So Krishna is talking about seeing everything, but here he's adding some more to that he's never lost to me. So Krishna is adding another level of explanation here, right? That's what he's doing here.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Who has an Bhagwan realization? Because Then so you mean to say like only Arjuna had a Bhagwan realization because he saw the Bhagwan in Kurukshetra?
Anybody can have Bhagwan realization. You all are aspiring for Bhagwan realization, right? When you look at Krishna in the temple, when you have a temple at your home, what do you see? You have Krishna in the two-armed form. That's Bhagwan. That's what we all are aspiring for.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yes. So our focus is on the Bhagwan platform. The other platforms are not wrong. There's nothing wrong with them. They're incomplete. That's the problem.
So
And if you
being
remember,
human, okay, so like being human, being nice is Paramatma realization.
being human,
Being nice to everybody, like Yogi is saying good things in everybody. He's respecting all caste. He's respecting all animals. He's looking Paramatma in that. So
yes. So
that's
that's
like
the Paramatma realization. Yes.
okay.
And we read this in the 5th chapter, 19th verse, right? We said, Pandita Samadarshina. That there was this picture that when you see in your Bhagavad Gita, there's a picture that's connected to that. There's a person standing and he's seeing Krishna in everyone's heart, whether it's a cow, a dog, a chandal, an elephant. He's seeing it in everyone. That's 519. So that's the Pandita Samadarshina. That's a Paramatma concept. Yes. But the Bhagwan concept is, yes, we know there is divinity in everybody, but then there is Bhagwan himself somewhere. So this whole world, Krishna is created it, but he's not necessarily getting involved in it. He has a perfect system to maintain this whole world. There's Paramatma with every living entity. There is a cycle of karma. Concept of karma is there. There's a concept of reincarnation connected to the karma. Everything is perfect. Krishna is not in getting involved in anything. And we'll see that in the 9th chapter. Krishna says, so for that part, he has his portions, his expansions as Paramatma and Brahman that are getting involved in this world. He himself as Bhagavan, the two-armed Sham Sundar form, he's not getting involved in anything. But then that's what we all are looking for. Because with Paramatma and Brahman, there is no love in reciprocation. That only comes with Bhagavan. So we are looking for love. Every single living entity is looking for love. And that will only come when we connect with the Bhagavan feature. Okay.
Can you explain something for me, please? We've been reading about samadhi. We've been talking about samadhi, that the mind is fixed, right? So how is that Brahman stage?
Let's go back a couple of verses.
Prabhuji, also one confusion I think is kind of coming up is because both Paramatma stage and the Brahman stage actually are kind of infinite realization of Bhagwan's energy, right? But the Bhagwan feature is actually something very specific. Is that right way to put it? That both other ones are like very infinite, but this one is no, Krishna as a person.
Infinite? What do you mean by the word infinite?
Like the Paramatma feature is like, okay, everywhere there is Krishna in everybody's heart, right? That's like a Paramatma feature. And the Brahman is like, okay, the whole existence itself is Krishna. So in ways we are just saying the same thing, like infinity everywhere, right? But Krishna, when we say Krishna himself, he becomes a person now, something we can relate to. It's more like, so
but you have to understand that all that infinity you're referring to is coming from Krishna.
yes, that is correct. But some from a relating standpoint, the confusion.
Yeah, so you're right. That's a different, but then we all have to understand that even the Brahman and the Paramatma platforms are based on Bhagavan, Krishna, who's expanding as Brahman and Paramatma. So you have to keep, yes, I get your concept, but what is Brahman, what is Bhagavan? But you have to understand that it's Krishna who's expanding to come in these different features. And then he himself is also sitting in Goloka and having all the fun there. Right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So yes, so where was that? I was looking for that word Brahma Bhuta. Where was that? I'll just remember that. Was it
Prabhu, I had a question.
27.
27? Okay. Yes. What was the question? Who's saying that?
Julan Yatra.
Yes, please go ahead. Tell me. I'll
So
find out.
Prabhu, I had a question about seeing Krishna in Bhagavatam session. We were talking about, the speaker was saying that sometimes when we see panhandlers, especially in New York, you should like give something to them because you never know, like, if they've had their first meal, and it's like, you're a Vaishnava, so it's also you have to look at the person as like a part and parcel of Krishna and give something. But like from my experience, I've seen that, like, sometimes when I give them prasad, there was this specific one person who actually just threw it out because it did not have any meat in it.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes like things like this happen, and then how do you like reconcile, how do you like still try to understand that they are part and parcel of Krishna, and how do you try to help them?
Trying to help them. See, once again, when we try to help somebody, that could be different for different people. For Prabhupada, helping these drunkards, drug addicts, doing everything abominable in this world that you can think of, Prabhupada as an Uttam Adhikari can come, as a pure devotee, can come and correct them, and he can give them knowledge. If you and I try to go and give them knowledge, we will get contaminated actually, because we are not at the level of perfection. So when you heard somebody say that, and so you have to understand that it will be different for different people at different levels of their uh, spiritual consciousness, right? For example, if I tell you,
I see.
I'm afraid that if I be nice to everybody, they're going to misuse me, they're going to mistreat me, they're going to walk over me or something. But a pure devotee, he's so sure, dead sure that Krishna is protecting me, that he will be nice to everybody because he's not worried at all that anybody will come and hurt him, because he says, no, Krishna is protecting me. I have zero doubt about it. But I don't have that conviction. As Prem Dham doesn't have that conviction. So I have to be a bit cautious. Yes, I am aspiring for that level of understanding, but I don't have it right now. So you have to see it from your level, right? So you mentioned an example that you gave prasadam to somebody, he threw it away. Similarly, you might give money to somebody and then they might be injecting drugs in themselves because of that. So how you help others will be defined according to our level of consciousness. So that's what I wanted to say. So you can give to others, you can give to others. However, you have to be in that consciousness that it should not affect you, how that person uses it, or or it's coming out of your purity of your heart and your desire to help others. But you don't want to also fake it. Don't just try to fake it. Oh, I love everybody, and yes, these. You go to New York, right? You go to New York, and you'll find homeless people at every corner. There are thieves and whatnot. No offense to anybody in New York, a good place, but you cannot be nice to everybody there. You cannot be just trying to help everybody. We are not at that level of consciousness yet. That's just my 2 cents there.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So
Okay,
yes, we should try to help.
Thank you for clearing that.
I've actually heard Radhanath Maharaj say this in one of his classes, that how once he was in Mumbai and he was driving to the temple, and there was a beggar and he wanted to give that beggar something, and the driver didn't have any cash on him, and then Maharaj said to him that, hey, you should keep some cash to give it to them. But then you're talking about a pure devotee there. It's not like me struggling with the basics also. He's a pure devotee. So a pure devotee can think that way. And we can follow the steps of the pure devotee. If the pure devotee tells you to do something, then you can do it. But my consciousness by itself is not that pure.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. And yes, coming back to Vidya Mataji's question, Brahma Bhuta. Yes, so this was here what I was looking for, the word, the Brahma Bhuta. The word Brahma Bhuta, as Prabhupada tells us, liberation by identification with the absolute. So what this means is that identification with the absolute means you have an understanding that there is somebody behind this whole world that we are seeing that's running. There is somebody around, somebody who's running it. There's an intelligence that's running it, right? Then that intelligence is telling everybody, okay, you put seeds in the ground, but one seed comes out as a rose flower, another seed comes out as a gardenia or something. Who's telling them how to grow, when to grow? If you have ever planted seeds, they have different times of the year you're supposed to plant them. I do sometimes gardening, but so who's telling them? Okay, you come out at this time, or you come out 2 months later, or weeds to come. So all that identification that there is an absolute behind all this, there is one common intelligence that's running the whole show. You get liberated. That's called the Brahman platform. I'm not sure if that made any sense. Vidya Mataji, you there?
It did, Prabhu. Thank you.
So, and then the Paramatma feature is the next step where you're seeing that, okay, and I gave that analogy, that explanation, right? That I saw Brahman and I suddenly had this sense of gratitude in my heart. Hey, wow, this is amazing. There's somebody running the whole show. I want to know who this is, who that person is. How can I connect with that person? Where's the first place where you look for him? In your heart, because you are getting all this knowledge from within you. That's the first place you will look for. That's why Paramatma is always shown as sitting in the heart. That's why when people move to the next level from Brahman, they always sit down and look for that Bhagavan within their heart, or the Paramatma within their heart. Obviously, not everybody is looking at them as Paramatma, but they have that understanding that this so-called superior knowledge is sitting within me. So that becomes more focused. That's Paramatma teaching. And when they move to the next level, they understand the Bhagavan concept. That when that gratitude grows further, now I want to reciprocate. I want to offer something. I cannot offer something to the Paramatma sitting in my heart. So you want to now offer it to somebody, and that's where the Bhagavan feature comes in. And that's what Krishna says. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante ma buddha bhava samanvita. Once you understand that I'm the one who's running the whole show, then you become intelligent. That's the top level of intelligence. So that's the steps as we move forward. Okay, so I wanted to do up to 32 because 33, Anirudh is asking a question. We can start that next week. So we talked to 30, this is 30, so same thing, but then Krishna is bringing another aspect that he's never lost to me. So something similar, but more about not being on that level permanently, right? So it also means that never lost to me also means devotees see the intervention of Krishna in their lives all the time. There was a story about Narsingh Mehta. I've heard from senior devotees that Narsingh Mehta had to wed his daughter. Okay, but he was a poor man, but he was fully dependent on Krishna. And so his wife tells him, hey, you go out, get some money, borrow or something, and we have to wed our daughter. He goes out, on the way, there's Krishna Katha going. And he forgets everything and he just sits in that Krishna Katha for 7 long days. And then when he comes out of it, he realizes, oh my God, I had to wed my daughter. Now what's going to happen? And so much of humiliation for me. And then he goes home and he sees everybody is happy there. And everybody's congratulating him. And then he's confused. So he asks his wife, what's going on? He said, oh, the boy you sent with all the jewelry and the money and the food items, thank you very much. Where were you? But you missed the whole marriage. So that's the level of care for a devotee that Krishna has. Right? So that's the level of connection that Krishna. So that's how the person is never lost to Krishna. Right? And we have that example of Abhīṣṭa Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. Amrish Maharaj being very humble, Durvasa Muni, the chakra running after him throughout the whole creation. So that's the level of a devotee. Because Krishna practically becomes subservient to a pure devotee. Aham bhakta paradhino, he aswatantra iva dvija. That's what Krishna tells Durvasa Muni. That I am not free. I'm not independent. Don't think that I'm independent. Aham bhakta paradhino. I am a servant of my devotees. So that's what Krishna tells to Durvasa Muni. So I just went a bit off. But yeah, so that's what it means to never be lost to Krishna. So when you read these 2 verses, see that subtle difference. That yes, Krishna is always present. I see that Krishna is present in everybody as a super soul. And then when that kind of mindset is established, Krishna is never lost to me. That I never lose that. That's why going back to that verse in second chapter, 40th chapter verse, Nehabikarma naswasti pratyavayana vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayata mahato bhayat. Even little bhakti done, we never lose it. It always go into a permanent account. Okay, let's see 31. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the super soul, knowing that I and the super soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. Right? Remains always in me in all circumstances. That's a good one. So now this is about Bhagavan feature, right? So the last verse what we read. Right? So never lost to me means again this now the Bhagavan concept is coming. Right? Yeah, you can see Bhagavan in everybody. But the reciprocation happens when Krishna is saying that you're never lost to me. Now you're mine. You're my pure devotee. And I'll do anything for you. So, and then same concept of Bhagavan is being engaged here and saying, knowing that I and the super soul are one. The word I here is Krishna, the Bhagavan feature. And the super soul feature is the Paramatma. So when somebody who matures from the Paramatma level and he sees, yes, super soul everywhere, but the super soul is Krishna himself. And that is a perfect yogi. That's the perfect yogi that's being referred to in this verse. And this is 31, right? So let's see what next.
So, Prabhu, that means that if somebody has the Bhagwan realization, they would have other two realization automatically, right? But
yes.
Not vice versa.
Yeah, not vice versa. You're right. That's a good way of putting it. Vice versa, it wouldn't be. This very understanding that Krishna is present as Paramatma in everyone's heart makes the yogi faultless. Perfect. Makes the yogi perfect. And this is a very interesting word. Atma upayena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham so isa yogi paramo matah. He is a perfect yogi whom by comparison to his own self sees the true equality of all being in both their happiness and distress. One who is Krishna conscious is a perfect yogi. He is aware of everyone's happiness and distress by dint of his own personal experience. So this is a very interesting word. It shows empathy, atmiyata. There's a Sanskrit word is atmiyata. So it shows empathy. So when will that person become empathy to? It'll come only that when that concept of reciprocation comes. How can I serve Krishna now? And then Krishna always talks in Bhagavad Gita that when you serve my devotees, you're serving me, right? So till now, we were talking about a vision of a self-realized soul. Now it's about action. He sees suffering of others as his own. Right? Prahlad Maharaj says this, that, I'm not afraid of this material existence of yours, Bhagavan. My concern is that there are so many fools and rascals in this world who are making elaborate plans for enjoying in this material world. I'm simply concerned about them out of love. Right? So you may say, you should think about yourself. No, but a bhakti yogi, he keeps the needs, interests, and concerns of others also in his mind so that they can make spiritual advancement. Just like a mother tolerates all the nonsense of a child just so that, she continues to stay with him. She does not like, oh, you're nonsense, I won't, teach you anything anymore. No, the mother never leaves the child. Similarly, a devotee is like a mother. He will see so many souls suffering. And sometimes even to that devotee, they will do something nonsensical. They will mistreat him, disrespect him. But the devotee does not mind it. He realizes it. No, I'm doing it for Krishna. Right? So he has that, the devotee, he or she has that love in their hearts. And it's not a sentimental expression. It's not like Bharat Maharaj who wanted to help the deer. No, it's not like that. Devotee is not in that kind of a compassion. Right? Imagine this analogy, right? That you are holding a rope, right? You're holding a rope, and that rope is sadhana. Okay? So Krishna is holding the other end of the rope, or I would rather say your guru is holding the other end of the rope. Krishna is far. And you are holding that one other end of the rope. And with your other hand, you are trying to help others. You're trying to catch others who are, who need help. This river, this Maya, this material world is like a river. All the souls are just flowing in it. You can give a hand, you can help a few. So just be ready for that. But you have to be holding that sadhana rope which your guru is giving you very, very strongly. If you lose that, you will go back, you will also fall back into the river. So never do that. Right? And how do you get that rope? By sincere effort every single day. If you see a rope, and I've shown that analogy many a times in the temple classes when I give, you start with a filament, you add another filament the next day, then you get a thread. Now you keep adding filaments and then you get a string. And then you keep adding strings, you get a rope. Then in a few years of practice, if you have been sincere, if we have been sincere and consistent, we'll have a substantially strong rope to hold on to. Right? Just keep that in mind. That's what here is being talked about. Pure devotee, how he's looking for others' distress and trying to help them. Okay, we did up to here. Arjun's question is here. I'll take a minute if anybody has any thoughts or comments further. We are already a minute over, but just wanted to see. No, nothing. All good for everyone. Vrinda, all good with you?
All good, Prabhu.
Not Vidya, Vrinda.
Oh, Vrinda, okay.
Yeah.
All good, okay. Okay. Well,
Prabhu, I have one question about the exam. When will you return the corrected exam?
Oh, okay. I haven't seen those. I'll try to do it in a week or so. I'll get back.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Prabhuji.